Welcome back to Verdicts in Vogue and part 2 of Cristina's conversation with Julian Gomez. In this episode, we pick right up where we left off and dive deeper into the insights and experiences that make his story so compelling.
I've been a lawyer for 15 years, and I still have clients who send me like Christmas cards and send me notes just to tell me that I've made an impact. I mean, and it's failing fast, like having that mentality of failing fast for them. Like I don't want to play with someone else's life.
Right. And so one of the things that helps, right? Again, this is a Spence tactic. They call it psychodrama was the name of it. But basically a lot of it is just reverse roles with the person so that you understand what they're going through. Right. And we deal with catastrophically injured people, right? Just, I was in Denver and I went to a client's apartment. He's paralyzed. Right? And I was just like, that's also a Spence thing, right? Like I go to my clients' homes, like I need to see how they live. I can't tell their story if I don't know how they're really living, right? That person cannot afford for me to fail, much less fail fast.
I agree.
Right? That person needs success.
or your best attempt to get success.
Yes. Okay. Well, that really what they need is they need success. They don't want. There's no attempting. Like what they need and like what ultimately happens maybe are two different things.
Sure.
Like what they really need is that. Like, and I go back and forth.
I just go back to there's no guarantees, right?
There are no guarantees.
But you go in with the mindset that you're going to do it.
Right.
And you're going to succeed for that.
So I really haven't thought about this. Like, I have really good advice. So Avery's baptismal godfather, his father, like I asked him one time, I was like, he was a developer, real estate developer. He's like, how do you do that? Borrowing all that money, how do you stay up at night? He's like, I don't think about it. I just think about getting to the other side of that canyon. It's like I'm on a tightrope, but I just focus on getting to the other side. Right. So I don't just like, and I'm realizing it right now. I don't like, I know, like I assume I give everyone my best. Like this is the outcome I have to get. I have to get the outcome. And so like the other, like good advice, the second federal judge that I worked for had a magistrate that worked for him. Judge Black was the magistrate. And he sits me down and he brings me into his thing. And what am I going to do? And, I'm going to be a big bad plaintiff's lawyer. And he just feeds me all this rope. And at the end of the day, he was like, well, I'm going to get these big verdicts and I'm going to make it like I'm going to be bad. And he's like, who do you think wins with those big verdicts? And I was like, well, I do. And he was like, you might be right, but I'll tell you who doesn't win: the clients, right? All these, you go talk to most people who get big verdicts, right? Sometimes you have no choice. I'm not talking about that situation. I'm talking about when there's life-changing funds that are available for somebody and you're getting pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, kind of greedy and you lose, right? Or just what, like even I can say is even almost worse is like you get a giant verdict and you don't do things after you get a judgment to put some money in your folks' pocket, that the only person who wins is the defendants and the defendants' insurance companies. Right. And so I have heard some folks that are like, you need to go try some cases. I agree with that. You do. In fact, I did a minor prove up settlement the other day and I was like, man, I haven't done one of these in a long time. I need to keep my knife sharp. Right. And you do, you do need to keep your knife sharp. But we need to remember who we're really working for, not our marketing company.
Exactly.
To be able to put figures up on a website.
Sure.
I'm working for a guy who's got pressure sores because he's not getting to the doctor as often as he needs to get because he doesn't have the money to do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to consider, I think. And we're in law and the trial lawyers group that we roll with are male dominant. I mean, it's a male dominated practice, right? The numbers show it, at least in the trial. And there's a lot of egos too that come in. So, and then we don't have to get into the specifics of it, but I think it's really quick to lose yourself once you start getting those big verdicts.
Okay.
Right.
Well, so you start believing your own bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sorry, I
No,
didn't know.
no,
Like,
you're good,
so
you're
I
good.
have been real good about trying to like keep it clean.
That's good. I mean,
Right? Like, it's like you drink your own Kool-Aid. Just you cannot.
Yeah.
There's a time and a place.
Sure.
And that, so I had talked about like junior high, right? Like, so in junior high, I was a smaller kid growing up. I'm not giant. And you're like, I'm not afraid to fight. I've probably been in somewhere in the neighborhood of around 25 to maybe 50 fist fights in my life.
Really?
Yes.
So okay. So was this when you were in like the teen age?
It's probably starting in junior high.
Okay.
Right. And
Okay.
through college.
Really?
Absolutely.
That surprises me. Okay.
And so people who don't want to fight, right? There is an MO. I'm going to kick your ass.
Oh.
Right? Like they're bowing up to each other and talking. The person to be afraid of is the guy who just literally walks up to you, hits you on the side of the head, right here. You hit somebody right here and they're not expecting it. It will drop them to their knees.
Oh, wow.
And so there is a time to fight and a time to be real careful, because we're watching Madam Secretary right now on Netflix. And this was about like the egos. And we just started the series. And there's a session where, and I'm sorry if you haven't watched it. I mean, at least so far, it's a good series.
Good series.
But the president is soliciting some advice from like his cabinet, and one of the cabinet members suggests a bluff.
Okay.
Right. And the president responds, the problem with the bluff is that if they don't fall for it, then I've got to follow through with it.
That's a good point.
Right. So if you're going to threaten someone, you need to be prepared to fight.
Absolutely.
Right. And so there's a lot of puffery that comes with the egos. But I can tell you that I've been in the rooms with the egos, and when push comes to kind of shove, they were like, "Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't really what I was talking about."
I meant tomorrow.
yeah. And so, you can't believe your own bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
Oh, and I know.
You're not being objective. You're not being fair to your clients. You're not being fair to your family.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
because every minute that we're working is a minute that we are not with our families.
I know. That's a big deal in my household right now.
It's a big deal in my house.
Yeah, it's a big deal in my household.
Right. We just talked about skiing, right? Like, I'm working, right? That is that if every minute that we're dedicating to our clients, to our profession, to our businesses, to helping others, right? That is a minute that you are taking away from your family.
And it's hard to disconnect from that world. Like, I am a workaholic. Whoever knows me knows it doesn't matter where, if a vacation, I'm on my phone, or and that's not a good feeling. So I've been more mindful about that recently, because now my kids call me out. Now they're like, shut your phone, shut your computer, or shut your phone, or put it. But I mean, it takes me even now 72 hours to disconnect.
Oh, we are.
It takes me 72 hours to disconnect when I go on a vacation. On the third day, finally, after the third day, I can finally relax. But then my vacation's only like 4 or 5 days, so I go back. So I only get like really 2 days of like, I don't care if my phone, if my email is calling, or I don't care if there's, like if there's something, it can wait.
Right.
Basically, not that I don't care, but it can wait.
Well, so we talked a little bit about my dad, and so he is a surgeon. As a child, and now let's say that's 7 to maybe into high school, I can't remember a holiday that everything happened on time where we were home because somebody needed emergency surgery.
Really?
Really. So if we were home, that generally meant that my dad was on call. And so when somebody's having an aortic abdominal aneurysm, right? Someone's having a stroke, they need a carotid. That was the surgery.
That's the one he wants to do.
That's the one he likes to do.
Sleep.
Yeah, he's like, I can do those. Like, he loves it.
I can walk out right here and do it.
My dad is really, he was a phenomenal surgeon. He was president of the Fellowship of the American College of Surgeons. Like, he's a stud. He loves to cut. And he was like, a chance to cut is a chance to heal. But so when you have a hot appendix, right?
Sure.
That seems like it's no big deal. You've probably taken some antibiotics because you called your family practice doctor. They put you on Tylenol, so you don't really know what's going on. And you got a problem and it's ruptured. Like, you're going to die.
That's bad.
You are going to die. And so he's like, I'm sorry. I know that we were opening up Christmas gifts. I'm sorry. I know that we're about to carve the Thanksgiving turkey, by the way, which he does an awesome job at. I know that we were going to do this for Easter, whatever it may be. I got to go. And we sat there essentially on hold.
So how did that, so one, how did your mom, Marisela or Yaya,
Right.
deal with that? Was she supportive?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then how did you and your sister take that? Like, how did it land on you? Or did it change as you growing up?
It probably changed a little bit, but where you're saying that you had to be present for work, a lot of what we do, there's like some deadlines.
Oh, yeah.
Like the real deadlines, and it has to get done. And if you get into the habit of constantly asking for extensions, like it
looks
maybe
bad.
it works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. And so as a child, maybe there was like, shit, man, I want to open up my gifts or whatever, right? There was thinking of yourself, but as you became a little bit older, you recognized how noble it was that like, and I know not every time it came out right, or like it was like the person lived. I know that bad outcomes happened, right? And it almost becomes a sense or a point of pride, right? It's like, I've run a marathon. Would I want to run another one? No, I have no desire to run a marathon, right? But you're like, oh, wow, I did that. And so I saw my dad do that, and you're like, I'm proud of him, right? And I'm sure your children are proud of you.
They are. They're proud of me. They always say, "Mommy, what does mommy do?" They actually were on the first episode that I had Enzo and Eva
Right.
come on, and so I wanted to talk to them. It's like a brief episode, but just to find out what their take was and what mommy does for a living, and they just said that she helps people.
It's awesome.
And that's kind of their take on it, and they know because I thank them. I oftentimes I say, "Hey, thank you for being understanding and letting mommy spend time with so and so and their family because they need help."
Right.
And even I sometimes I try not to talk about work because we deal in serious injuries and death cases, and so but they still hear. These kids are really really in tune, and I know like maybe about a year ago I have a drowning case, and a really unfortunate case. And I haven't really worked in it at home or so forth, but somehow my son one day asked me, he's like, "How was so and so?" And the name is not like a common name. And I looked at him, I go, "What?" I go, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, the little boy who drowned. Is he in heaven?" And I was like, oh. And I'm like, he goes, "Are you going to help their family?" And I said, "You better, I am. It's sure, Skippy, I'm going to help their family." And so that's kind of like, so I'm hoping that the kids realize that it's for a greater good, not only for our family, but for their future, but also for all the families that we impact. So we'll see.
Children, and I don't know that this is where you really want, like, I would love to do like a parenting or kind of a
Being a lawyer and a parent.
No, just like I being a parent is harder than being a lawyer.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Right.
No,
like
no
so,
hesitation.
None. Right. So we were talking about like a formula. At least there's a formula for kind of being a lawyer, right? Like get good grades at high school, get good grades at college, take the LSAT, right? Like there's a formula for this, right? Maybe it's not the exact same formula for everyone. There's a kind of like a formula. Being a parent, like you have two children, right? They're not anything like each other.
No, one's come here, the other one's here. One reacts this way, one does this, one likes this. I'm like,
there's no, this comes right. There's no manual that came with you. Like I'm just doing my best with you.
Sure.
But children, and they notice and pick up on things that we maybe are not perceiving that we're putting out. And so if you're doing stuff with good intention, I sincerely believe that the kids will see it and will be proud of it and will thank you for it. And things will come of it that you didn't even think of, like empathy, right? That's what you just articulated. That feeling that Enzo had was empathy.
oh yeah, he did. And I was surprised. And it's just something that stuck with me when he said that, because I realized that they're listening. I got to make sure that I don't bring work at home. and then how they're starting to view the world, like, so I think I'm teaching them like these foundational skills, and then empathy is a big one, right? It's kind of what we do. We have to empathize for our clients, because how do we tell their story if we don't understand them or their story? So that's a big one.
And if you were like, again, it's how you feel. Like you're supposed to like feel what they go through, like, which is tough. That's where that role reversal, like you think about like, oh my gosh, and just like.
Has Avery ever mentioned whether like you being a lawyer or being on call all the time, whether that impacted her in any way?
No, not that I can really. So I know that at least, so she's going to law school, right?
I didn't realize she was going to law
Oh
school.
yeah, she's going to law
Okay.
school. She's been accepted. She's working right now in Washington, D.C. She finishes up in May.
Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. So at a minimum, so sometimes people say, we're like, oh, they're doing it because of you. Maybe they're doing it in spite of you, but at least the way how I'm seeing it, my child is choosing to be an attorney
and that's
because of me. So I don't think it's had like a bad kind of influence on her. And again, like, so this is something I like. It's like everyone's belly button is perfect. So how you raise your kids is right for you and your family. How this person over there raises their kids, that's right for their family. That person is right for their family.
I don't know. I've seen some ugly belly buttons.
I got you. So, like, nothing is absolute, right? But I have tried. I've tried to introduce my clients to my kid.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
So that same, you have 1 second of bad luck to get over it, right? There was also another one. You don't know how lucky you are until you take a look around.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
right?
that
was my grandfather, right? You don't know how lucky you are until you take a look around. And when you take a look around and you're like, I can always one worse it. Right? So wherever someone is at, like, I can make it worse, which gives you like an attitude of gratitude, right? So you can say, well, at least they have this or they have that, but you take this away and you're like, oh my gosh, you can always one worse it. And so I tried to expose Avery to that in what I thought was age appropriate at the time, right? So, like if I had, I've had some rough clients. Like I have a great client, a maritime client, and he had on his neck tattooed FUCKLIFE. Look that size. I don't know, what is that? 4 inches right across his neck.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, and you would not have thought, like, but he was a nice guy. I went to his house. Right? Sure. I went to his house. He hurt his knee in a maritime incident. Notice I didn't say accident. I'm trying not to use that word, but an incident.
That's an intentional.
Right? It is an intentional thing, but he hurt his knee, and he was a smarter guy. I let my kid meet this guy.
Wow.
Right.
Could she read at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, so she saw the tattoo.
Right. Yeah. And so Avery has been a great sounding board, right? Like if I can talk to a 10-year-old about what a case is about, then I can talk to anybody.
That's true.
Right. If I can explain what this is, well, why did this happen? Well, because somebody wasn't paying attention. What's important?
No.
Okay. Who here thinks that you need to be paying attention when you do your job?
John Romano said something like that. He would tell his grandkids stories. And if you can keep a 5 or 6 year old attentive and listening for X amount of time, then you're doing it right. Because as soon as you start getting off, that means that you've lost them. Then you're no longer effective.
You're right.
That's not mine. I'm just repeating what I heard him say.
Well, and again, just because it worked for John, and maybe I've done something a little bit different, it works for me, doesn't mean it's got to work for you. That would be like another great piece of it. You've got to be yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that is. Right.
Well, I think that's a big deal with the Jerry Spence method, right?
It is.
He was like a personality on his own, and what worked for him doesn't work for everyone else, even though maybe the underlying principle. But it's like, how do you find what works for you?
You fail fast. No.
Like that. So for newer attorneys who are still, because there's so many great legends out there, right? That you look at and I'm pretty blessed that I'm surrounded by so many of you guys, right? So it's like I
am not a legend.
Yeah. Nah. Well, it depends. You're on your way. I think so.
Well, thank you.
I mean, well, you're definitely a mentor for me.
Oh, well, thank you.
And in my mind, you're a legend. So that's
Thank
good. But you see these attorneys, and the younger person who doesn't know yet, hasn't found their voice yet, may be trying to mimic what they're doing. So how would you recommend that young attorney or newer attorney find themselves or get to where they need to be?
That's a great question that I hadn't also thought about. So in law school, the same way it's how I wound up with Fred. I was great at not great, that's an overstatement. I did well at mock trial, and I had a great mock trial coach. And she would throw erasers at me. I would go, throw an eraser. And I remember, so there was a very famous plaintiff's attorney at the time in Houston named John O'Quinn. And I wanted to be John O'Quinn. And not personally, personal life, but his professional career was outstanding. And then as you kind of matured, right? Like I went through and I tried to mimic his style, like in mock trial, and Jackie didn't really let me do that. She let me develop my own style. And so I was sitting next to Ann Deerdorf today, and I was speaking at the Colorado Trial Lawyers meeting. I was like, I think it's pre-COVID, so it's a while. Maybe it's not pre-COVID, I can't remember, but I'm speaking there. So Nick Raleigh, like it's right here. Ann and Nick are partners. And she's like, oh my God, you're fanboying. And I was like, what? Like, it's like,
it's hard not to.
She's like, people fanboy you. And I was like, yeah, but it's Nick Raleigh. And so like, I'm just shooting the shit with the guy. And so that guy, and there's another guy from Oregon, and they kind of use this term brutal honesty.
Oh, is that Jacob?
No, it's not Bill Blanton. If I had my phone, I'd pull it up. I brought him to Texas to speak at a CLE, and I was just like, man, I didn't even think about that. The guy from Oregon, and I should find it so that I'm not kind of not giving him justice and credit for his thing, but he talked about as a plaintiff, right? You don't necessarily talk about what you have given up.
Oh yeah.
You talk about what you have left. Right. So, and he used some biblical stories, like the lady at like with the coin, right, who puts more into the offering plate because she has so little, right? Or the lady also with the coin, I think they're probably called talents if you're really being serious about it, or if you go back and look at what they're saying, but how if you lost one, you would be searching for it. So it's not what you gave up, it's what you're left with. And that's a different thing. But anyway, Nick Raleigh was like the brutal honesty, right? And that's not my term. I've kind of copped it. I like it. I call it popping my own pimples, right? Doesn't have the same ring. I also use that with insurance, right? I like bad faith from the bottom and bad faith from the top, and I like to pop pimples, right? I do, right? I got a great bad faith ruling this past week. Like,
you did?
Yeah, I love insurance stuff. I think it's super. It's different than the products work because it gives us a unique perspective to. There's maybe sometimes a little. It's a different kind of chess.
It's a totally different.
Yeah, it's a different type of chess.
I have two right now, and I can tell you, it has. I think doing a bad faith case, and I partnered up with an attorney out of Vegas, but doing a bad faith case and learning not to call it bad faith because it's claims practicing case, right? Claims handling case, changes the perspective of how you practice from the top down.
That's right.
It changes. That's really been an eye opener for me.
Yeah, absolutely. How you set up a case matters.
Oh yeah,
like it does. But finding yourself, it is there and. Again, maybe the fail fast isn't always wrong, right? But fail fast where there's no consequences.
That's a good modifier.
And so what Jackie did was I was trying to do that. There's no consequences, right? Like I was practicing, right? So my career didn't start out that way, but you hear right? I don't know anyone, but I've heard of these people. I went to the DA's office and I tried 152 cases, right? Or whatever they say, right? But for them, there wasn't maybe the consequences, or there's a car wreck lawyer who's trying, they offer $4,000. I needed 4,500. This case doesn't have, nobody's really hurt. So I'm going to go learn and try to get the 4,500. Is doing that allows you to kind of do that. But maybe the most important thing is really liking yourself, being comfortable with who you are. Right.
That takes
it does.
It took me about when I hit my 40s that I started feeling more comfortable in my skin. So, and I think it's just different for everyone.
It is. And it's not, there's not a right way to do things, right? Or the right way to do things. There are different ways to do it. But I absolutely believe, like, kids can smell bullshit. Juries smell bullshit. Right? Just people smell bullshit. Okay. Yeah. You just, and it doesn't take long. Like, you might fool me once, you're not going to fool me twice.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a wonderful takeaway. That is a good point to bring and I think that the only way of getting there is figuring out what's right for you and not being afraid to try or practice. Because at the end, if you're just trying to find your style, your thing, I guess I don't know what to define the thing, but it's like, Nick Rowley has brutal honesty, but then you have, so what's your real part? So it's like,
like I practice in elevators.
What do you mean?
I
find that so interesting.
Like
your elevator pitch?
You might not believe it, but like we were talking, I'm really an introvert.
I can see that because I've known you long enough, and just because I know I can see that now because I know that you go get things done, have dinner, and then you are back in your room to decompress.
Well, that's part of it. So I'll tell you why you do that. I have been to too many professional settings. Somebody drinks too much alcohol, and how, like they say, nothing good happens after midnight. Mm-hmm. Nothing really good happens after dinner. You can have a drink maybe at those things, but you need to get back up so you don't make a fool of yourself.
That's true.
That is where that.
I actually have a self-imposed curfew.
Yes.
So I get it.
And you want to hold yourself to a higher standard. It's much better. It's like, wow, you're really professional. Then, man, you're sloppy.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and I think that's another lesson that for younger attorneys, because I think that's a big lesson for younger attorneys, because they may think it's like, at the end of the day, we come to these things not only to work on our craft, to network, but it's a reflection of us. And so if you are out there and having way too much fun, people are going to remember, because people may forget all the 10 wonderful things that you did. But it takes one time for them to be like, oh.
That's my another grandfather said, you can do 1,000 things right and one thing wrong, and all anyone remembers is the one thing wrong, right? That's another saying of his. He called them dichos, by the way. There was
I know the word.
But so the elevator pitch, I have to work on opening myself up. Right? Like, I have to work on that. Like, I know that about myself. I am not. Like, there's some people like, oh, it's so easy for them. And so I think some people might think that about me, but no, it's not that it's easy for me. It's like, I lift weights, I'm working out. And so one of the places that I practice that is in elevators or chair lifts on ski things. And here is how I always start.
Share with me, please.
I'm from Texas. Where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix.
Right. And then they'll say, well, we're in Texas. And so I have a little bit and it's the same way how I give speeches, right? So, or an opening statement or anything else. I have the beginning memorized and I have the end memorized, and the stuff in between, like, I have a decent idea of what I'm going to say. But so the beginning, hi, I'm Julian, I'm from Texas. Where are you from?
Hi.
And this, right. And so, like, always, right? On the chairlift, like when we ski, right? You sit next to these people. You have to talk to each other, or you seem like you're, a snob. And you're like, hey, I'm from Texas. Where are you from?
Okay. So
right? That's how I open with people.
So
always.
I am not very good at that. I am the person, if you are an introvert, then I am a hermit, right?
Okay,
So
but I've worked on it, right? I've gone to like, I don't know, like I've worked on it, right? I recognize. So this is one of the other things. You don't have to be good at everything,
I know.
right? You have to be good enough.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. That's a
You
good
just have
point.
to be good enough, right? So I don't have to be the most like. There's a lawyer back home that like he's just super fast on his feet. Right. I think I get better outcomes because like I work really hard on like, and I think through like there's 80 options, right? And
Mhm.
like I've already calculated everything out, right? It's a different kind of, he does different stuff, but like I can appreciate that guy's really that way. I know that it's going to take me more time to do something. I know that it's not really in my nature just to go up and be like, hey, how are you doing? Where, you know, like that's not who I am, right? So I have to work on it, and I'm okay with that. I just accept it and do it.
Wow. Okay. Well, taking back to talking about your business and role and where you want to see yourself now as you are going into this, as focusing on, family, but also making more money is how you said it. Where do you see that? Where do you want to put your focus on? Where are you? Because you've done so much, you can handle all types of cases. Is there like
Maybe
one
not
particular?
all types of
Well,
cases, but
well,
yeah,
in this world, in the personal injury world, I wouldn't. I mean, in the personal injury world. But what would you say that you want to see yourself kind of focusing on it for like the next 10 years, 5, 10 years?
So um, the grass is always greener on the other side, but my dad would say there's usually a sewer running underneath it. So I have debated with myself, right? I see some of these advertising lawyers, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so wonderful. All they do is come out on commercials where they do this, and it's like passive income. It's like owning an apartment complex. They just collect checks, right? I have a very good friend. We were visiting in Colorado, and he comes up to me and he's telling me, he's like, oh my God, I have this apartment complex, which is like this advertising law firm. I have all these employees. I have all this overhead. I have all these cases, and this stuff isn't working out the way I wanted. We're cash flowing, but you were like, oh man, maybe I have it pretty good, right? So I have. I do spend a lot of time, like I said, praying or thinking, and I exercise a bunch, right? I do exercise a bunch. And so when I'm doing that, I'm thinking oftentimes about the practice of law. So I would like to diversify a little bit more,
Okay.
right? If I have had to reinvent kind of my practice one time, absolutely, was, like I said, I started out doing auto products, but they were auto products out of Mexico, right?
Oh.
And I had essentially a monopoly at one point where just about every auto products case that came out of Mexico, I had a shot at. I looked at it first. Plane crash, I got to look at it. Helicopter crash, I got to look at it. And I built I don't know how many published opinions I have in Delaware, but there's a bunch on choice of law and forum non-convenes. Someone took a case that I rejected, told my local counsel that I was involved. There was 2 lawyers. I called one of the lawyers up and said, hey, this case doesn't fit the mold. Like I built the law out there on this issue. This case doesn't fit the mold. There's a reason I rejected it. I explained it to them. They dismissed the case. Bad law was not made. The other lawyer on the case says, I know better than you do, and ruined that. And it closed the door for those people.
Wow.
So I started doing US, right? And so that I do have an abundance mentality, right? So like it's going to work out. I have a very good friend, Michael Cowan, who's a trucking lawyer, and Michael Clark for the same federal judge I did. Michael then went like to the Jerry Spence, and like so I followed kind of Michael's, like I've been carrying Michael's briefcase behind him, and Michael's like, there's room for all of us, right? He's got that kind of attitude, and so I was like, well, I know auto products. I'm not really in the U.S. auto product space, but there's room for me here too. And so I went out and I developed that book of business. Then I've developed a commercial motor vehicle book of business. And I remember asking Fred, how long do you think asbestos is going to be around? And he told me It's like at least another 30 years. Right? I have some friends that do asbestos work right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mesothelioma cases are still working. There is still money in those trusts. And so he was right. How much longer is personal injury going to be similar to what it is right now? If I had a crystal ball, right? I mean, I probably wouldn't necessarily be doing the same thing, but I do believe that automotive product liability cases, commercial motor vehicle litigation, despite governmental efforts or anti-civil justice attempts, will be in existence for probably another 10 to 30 kind of years like that. Whether it's in the same manner or way that it is right now, I don't know about that. But the ability to pivot when faced with new information is a superpower. It is how species have adapted throughout time. And we as lawyers need to be able to do that. So I want to keep that business open. I would also love to provide. So one of the things that I struggle with is how do you get stuff from generation A to generation B without going to court? Okay, think about that. Trusts, that's one of it. But a will, which is what most people think about, doesn't work. Doesn't work. There's, like in Texas, something called immuniment of title. There's a small estates affidavit, but you still got to go. So like the estate planning is something that I think will be around forever. If I was a young lawyer, I would develop some of that, at least as an augmentation to what you're doing. I also think intellectual property is going to be around for forever.
Sure.
Right.
Especially now with, it's just ever changing. Look what we learned today. So
there was a doctor who was 70 years old when I was in my section in law school. And, like if I reach independent wealth status, I might pivot just to go teach myself that. Because I think it's fascinating. Like how that works. I've done commercial litigation, and by commercial, I don't mean commercial motor vehicle litigation. I mean business versus business. I've done it on a contingent basis. That's going to stick around, but that was just about money.
Yeah,
it didn't.
I've done it too.
Yeah,
it doesn't fulfill me.
It didn't fulfill me in the same kind of way. So if I had, I would love some diversification. I would love to have a small pre-litigation kind of shop that did a little bit of that, right? Mm-hmm. And a little bit of this other thing. It almost, I talk about being a commodities trader, right? Some people will tell you concentration is this, the way how you reach wealth. Other people will tell you, oh no, you got to diversify, right? And so it's like salt. Probably too much is like too little. Mm-hmm. And so there's a happy medium. And so I would like a little bit of diversification, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know everything, and I think this stuff's fascinating.
It is. That's one thing you can count on with the law. It's going to always change. And with the generations that come, there's new technology and new issues that arise, and then things that you may have foreseen and things that you just did not see happening. So I think that's a really good point, just to be prepared and the ability to pivot.
Yeah, you got to be able to just pivot.
Absolutely.
And it's not the end of the world. That's one of the things that I want. It's not the end of the world.
So I wanted to ask, because I know that you have been so nice to give me your time this afternoon. And
I'm happy to do it. I'm honored that you asked.
Well, it was like the perfect fit. I was like, if I can get Julian seated, I'm going to start asking him questions.
All right.
But I want to ask you now about personal questions. So
okay.
Let's see. What is your proudest moment outside of the courtroom?
Ooh. Probably when my daughter graduated from my alma mater from college. That, I was like, like there was a lot of work that went into that moment. My daughter went to the same school I went to. I went to Texas A&M. I was in the Corps. I wear my college ring on my left finger. My wedding band is just a little bit closer to my heart, but my class ring is right there. Going to A&M is kind of a big deal for me. When my daughter, there's a photograph there's some good graduation photographs, but at A&M, getting your ring is almost bigger than graduating.
Okay.
And only kind of people who went to A&M kind of like
Get it?
well, it's not that they get it, but appreciate it.
Okay.
And so there is a photograph where she gets her ring and we're embracing, and we're both pretty happy.
Oh, that's really sweet.
That's probably that. I was a distinguished alumni within my college at A&M. I was pretty happy then. You know, when I got married, like I was a later in life love. Like it took me a long time to find love, and so I was real happy that that happened. And those would probably be some of the tops, right?
That's,
Yeah.
no, those are beautiful. They're both beautiful, and Danielle is just amazing. You know, I think so highly of her, and she's probably one of the funniest people that I've ever met.
So I'll tell you what, you talk about somebody who's like, she like has the best mentality, like she always sees the positive. She's beyond a hard worker.
She works hard.
Doesn't know how to take no for an answer. She's the best salesperson I've ever met in my life. Like there's a reason that like, and I
She's
joke
your
around,
closer.
she is. So I joke that like, there's a reason I chose her. There was no choosing on my behalf, right? Like she allowed me to choose her. Yeah, she's pretty special.
Oh.
Okay, bring them.
Okay. Best vacation that you have taken with young children,
Okay.
and then best vacation that you have taken as an adult, no kids.
Okay. Love these. This is
Okay.
good stuff.
Okay, tell me.
I can talk on this one. So let's go with the adult one kind of first. There is an island that we go to in Mexico, and I am not going to say the name because if I do, everyone's going to wind up there. But there's a very close second, and it's not an island, but there are places to go in Mexico. And there's a reason Mexico, where they're safe, but not very populated. I am not talking about going to Cancun or Cabo San Lucas, right? There's some places that you know where service is outstanding. And what I like to do, the way how you said it takes you 2 or 3 days to kind of chill out, it takes me about 5. And the way how I like to unwind is I need my computer, I need good internet, I need my wife right next to me, and I'm going through and getting to inbox 0.
I don't know how you do that, but okay.
I get to inbox 0. I sit right there and I try to do it once a year. And then there's a nice guy that is bringing me a beer with Bloody Mary mix. We call them a michelada, but in other places they're called ojo rojo. Michelada actually in Mexico is just lime juice with the beer. They call it maybe a chelada, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
That makes Julian happy.
Look at that.
That is a great adult kind of time for me with Danielle. And I didn't start really doing it until Danielle. When we did that the first time, it had been like 15 years since I had an adult vacation.
Wow. I think, and it's important. You need that especially, I mean, you need that to like decompress and to just reset.
I did.
I feel like at least I need that.
Yeah, it helps. Right? It definitely helps. Now, with the kids, that one is a little bit tougher. And I say that because, so with, there's positives and negatives to kind of, there's positives and negatives to everything. I will use an absolute. So having one child, which is kind of how I did. Danielle had a child, I had a child, and so now we're 4, but I was really 2, right? Avery and I just needed to take care of one, right? So I could do things in a little bit different way. So I would ask her, I'm going to miss some stuff, right? I got to work, right? This house does not pay for itself. Your health insurance is just not, like, oh yeah, you're a cute little kid. Let me get you some health insurance, right? Like it's not groceries. Forget about it. Like it just is not how it works. I'm going to work. I'm going to miss something, but I'm going to make it up to you. And the way I'm going to make it up to you is you pick a little trip.
Okay.
I'm going to pay for it. And I'm going to try not to work that much, but I worked every single day that we do that, but we would go somewhere. And so like some of the stuff that I thought was not going to be great,
Hmm.
wound up being great. Swimming with dolphins.
Really?
Oh my God. I thought that was going to be the cheesiest thing. Again, there's another really great photograph that somebody happened to capture. And Avery is like beyond happy. And I'm like, this is pretty cool.
How old was she when you did that?
Like maybe 10.
And where did you go?
We went, and so where it started, she wanted to swim with whale sharks, which we have now done. Also an incredibly cool thing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That was what is the one? It's Cancun, there's Cozumel, Isla Mujeres. That was where we did that one from. I'm happy to give that name out. You can go to Isla Mujeres. You just go swim with the whale sharks. But the dolphins, like I was like, oh, where do I go do that? There's a place just in between Key West and Miami, a little town called Marathon. And in Marathon, I think it's called like the Dolphin Research Center. And we flew into Miami, drove down there and went and did it. It was really great. One of the other ones that you can only connect the dots looking backwards.
Mhm.
That's something that I've said for a long time. I love that saying. I got it. I'm not sure where. I didn't come up with it. I copied it from somebody else. And I told you like the other night, a friend of mine, Joe Freed, we were Spence classmates. We were visiting. I was introducing him to Danielle the other day. And we talked for like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes. And he said it, but in a different way, and I've now done it, is the universe is always conspiring in your favor, right? The way how I kind of say it for myself is God is always conspiring in your favor, right? So I didn't realize these, but there's 2 trips that I took with Avery, or did with her, that we now use to tell her she can achieve things.
Okay.
1, she went trapezing.
Really? I think that would be fun.
It is fun, but you got to let go of the bar you're on.
That's true too.
And trust that somebody else is going to catch you. You got to be willing to take risks. If you don't take risks, you're never going to fail, right? You're not going to fall into the net, but you're also never going to fly,
True.
right? And
That's
so
beautiful.
You got to be able to take risks. And God willing, there's a safety net underneath you, right? Right? Don't fail fast, right? But like, if you're going to fail, like make sure everything's going to be okay if something happens, right? That would be horrible. Like, right, you start trapezing, you don't catch the first time, splat on the ground. Like that's a problem. So think about if failure is a possibility, like set it up, right? But the other one was we went to Colorado and she wanted to go rock climbing.
Okay.
And so she's trying to rappel up this little mountain. I don't know. She's again like this 10, 15-year-old kind of age. She's not quite 15. And she can't get up it. She gets like to this one point and she's kind of like pull herself up and she can't do it. She tries like, I don't know, 5 times.
Wow.
And she comes back down and I'm like, please give her one more chance. Please, please, please. And so she's like, you can do it. And we had this talk and I'm like, look, you got one more shot. You've got to leave it all on the mountain.
Okay.
All on the mountain. And she gets up to the thing. And I tell the guy right there, it's like, I don't care what you do. You pull her up that stupid thing so she gets to the top. No, it's like I didn't. She did it on her own, but she gets to the top and then she gets back down, right? Because getting to the top is only half the battle.
Oh yeah.
You got to get yourself back down, right? When you summit a mountain, that's only half. You gotta get to the bottom. I have a picture of her, like at the office. It's like right behind me on the side over here. She's wearing this white shirt. Her arms are up in the air like success. She got shit all over her face, right? But I use that as like, leave it all on the mountain.
I love that.
I use that with her often.
Good.
So,
Leave it all on the mountain.
Leave it all on the mountain. So the trips with the kids were things where they wanted to do. And that was really hard for me as somebody who likes to control things, to give up that control. And look, I had to go to Disney World twice. I hate Disney World.
I was just talking about this.
Right. I hate it. But
our kids' spring break is coming up, and I managed to they wanted to go to Universal Studios, and then also stop. But I managed to convince them to go to Kona. So I at least I get
okay.
4 days
There you
Kona.
go. That's a good one.
So we'll be going to Kona, and no Disney.
Take Enzo fishing while you're there.
He loves it.
I know.
I don't know where he got it, but I'm gonna continue helping him do
yes,
that.
and it doesn't even have to be a big fish, just little fish, like pulling on the line, like it makes your kids like happy.
Yeah,
that's where we went last year to go fishing. And when you get into law school, you got to write all these essays and stuff. Most influential moment in her life, she talks about catching a marlin.
Really? That's okay.
So you don't ever know what's important to them.
Mhm.
Like it gives them, I call them islands of success. It gives them little islands of success, and you put a whole bunch of islands together, and then you have like some land.
Okay. Here's my last question for you.
Okay.
My last question for you. And if, let's say, now Avery's now in her 20s,
Right.
she is getting married.
Okay.
What would be the song that you would want to dance with her as a daddy-daughter dance?
Ooh. So she got to get presented, and like she got these dresses and this
Mhm.
whole kind of deal. And so we practiced on these songs. And I have a list of them on the phone over there, but I'm not a big music guy. And so we never kind of came up with it. And so I'm not sure because we don't have a song.
You don't have a song that you think like that
No,
sing her?
I don't. So
Julian.
I can't tell you, like the first night she was born, she's crying. They bring her back from the nursery. They're like, she's your kid, you deal with her. And the only thing that shut her like that night was the Spirit of Aggieland. That was the only song that I knew, which was the alma mater song for A&M song. Some may boast of proudness so of the school. Like I was singing it like a lullaby to the baby. And so I'm saying that song to her a whole bunch, but that's not really a good daddy dancing daughter song.
Funny.
But I don't know. Whatever. Like it wouldn't
You'll be
even
okay.
matter.
It'd just be the fact that you're dancing with her.
Yeah, just dancing with her. We'd be
Aw.
good. Like,
That'd be so-
yeah.
I think that's one of my proudest moments, dancing with my dad on my
Yeah.
wedding.
What song did y'all dance to?
Louis Armstrong song. I can't remember the name of it now. I picked it from my dad.
Yeah.
What a Wonderful World.
What a Wonderful World. Great song.
Yeah.
I could
yeah.
dance to that.
Yeah.
I'd probably let her pick it. Like, there's being married, right? It's new.
That's true. It's 4 years.
Right. It's 4 years. Well,
Oh, no,
we
less
just
than
finished
4 years.
3. We
Yeah.
just finished 3.
But you've been
But-
together 4.
Well, yes. Maybe 5. No, we started August 2020.
Okay.
But one of the things that I had never said before then, never had I said it before. It's like, I'm not dying on that hill. I want black. Well, I want white. I want black. Well, I want white. You know what? I'm not dying on that hill. Make it black.
I'm going to snip this little clip as you are building your house with
Well,
Danielle.
you
And
have-
I'm going
oh
to
my
give
God.
this to her. I'm saying, here's what he said. He's not dying on that hill. You can have
Well,
whatever
so
color
I
you
did
want.
say, I said black and white hill. I didn't say which hill. I'm saying it more, and I've never said it kind of like before in my life. There is not a hill, like if everyone wants to dance to like, I don't know, Baby's Got Back. And so you got to be from the 80s or whenever to know what that is.
I got it.
I would be like, are you sure? Yes. All right, let's do it. I'm not dying on that hill. I'd be like, I don't even know how you rap dance. But I tried.
Well, thank you for being
On
here.
the contrary, thank you.
I really appreciate it. I've just have fun talking to you all the time. And for everyone who's watching, thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.